look alright?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm answering question 4 of the evaluation. How did you use media technologies in the construction and research, planning and evaluation stages? So first of all, we used YouTube to research existing documentaries. So we researched ones like Catfish. There was one about Amanda Todd that we researched, and the one about the Super Gamers, and there was a few others as well that we did. And when we watched those, they kind of like inspired us on which documentary conventions to follow. So we used a presenter in the documentary. We also used a voiceover. We had talking head segments. We had professional opinions to the counsellor. So those were all like common conventions that we saw in other documentaries. So that was something that we decided to use. We also used social media sites to research the internet trends that we decided to put in the documentary as the way people use media every day. So we kind of like looked at what people are writing on Facebook, and we also used different like internet websites to research like different facts about the internet. Like there was a few that we put in the documentary and some that went to our planning that we didn't end up putting in at the end, but we just used the most relevant ones that we thought would be most suited towards the direction we wanted the documentary to follow in. So we used ones like Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, all like the major like social media sites what people use the most after we researched it. We also used the social media to promote the survey that we made on SurveyMonkey, so that the audience would be able to see the survey and be able to take it, so we could get as many responses as we could. And then obviously from the responses from the survey, we checked over them and we decided from that what our target audience would be in the end. Yes, we found out what our target audience would be, and we also looked at the different responses, because there was a few where we looked at them and there was like an other option, so they could write what they wanted. And one of the questions on the survey, we got a lot of different responses, so we thought that was quite a good way that we could put lots of different perspectives into the documentary, so we thought that was a good idea in the end. As far as other media technologies, we used Prezi to present our research and planning on the actual blog, and we've done it in the evaluation as well. So we used it also to look at existing documentaries, so we could go into detail on each different branch that we researched into. So because we thought if we could make our own Prezi, we could have one section and then have different branches coming from that, and then it could switch to another one. So it just made it all more concise and more easier to navigate for the examiner to see, and also for ourselves, we could put everything into a different order. We also did a few things. We used Wix as the website as well, because we thought that had loads of different aspects of it that would be a lot easier to put into different places. So we could have different search bars at the top, so when looking at the blog, it was more, you could navigate it a lot easier, and it just makes it easier for an audience to see. And there was stuff on there that we thought would be good to take you to different places on the blog. So we used photo galleries. That was one thing we used. So we used that on the page about the clothing conventions. So we used lots of different people and said why they use that certain clothing convention in that documentary, and then why we used our own in our own documentary. We also used buttons to take you to Prezi, rather than actually just putting it on the blog, because it just makes it a little bit more exciting and creative to look at. So yeah, we talked about that. For other research, we used obviously search engines, so we used Google, Bing, all those kind of ones. So we used Google Images to research the ancillary products in particular. So we looked at double page spreads and newspaper ads to obviously research the common conventions of those as well, so that would inspire us to make our own. So we also researched which different magazines and TV magazines that we put our own into. And the inspirations, we got a lot of them from Morpho for the newspaper ad, because of the minimalistic view on the newspaper ads. So we got a lot of inspiration from looking on Google for different images, as well as actual technology. For the majority, actually, for all of the documentary, we did use a DSLR camera to record everything, because we thought that would give us the best quality that we could get. Because it's more focused on the content within the documentary, we thought using a DSLR would just make it a lot more attractive to watch, because the quality of it is so good. We also thought it's a lot better to get different angles and different perspectives of the documentary as well. And we also use it to get different cutaway shots and stuff like that. We use the mic for the presenter for the outside shots because we did film inside and outside, and because we thought that we'd get background sound when we filmed outside and in certain places indoors as well, we thought we'd use a mic just to make sure that the quality of the sound was the best it could have been, because we wanted to keep the quality up and keep the whole thing well rounded throughout the entire documentary, just so that it was more pleasing to view. We also used the portable LED lights, especially for the outside shots, because we thought there was one shot that we filmed that was it was starting to get dark, and we thought if we didn't use the lights it would kind of change the lighting throughout the documentary, and we wanted to keep that pretty much the same throughout. So we used little portable LED lights. We used about 4 of them, and we placed them around our presenter just so that you knew that she was the main focus of the shot rather than the surrounding building, because there was light coming from the back of the building as well. And when we filmed the talking head segments in the studio, each time we filmed them at different times, so each time we made sure to use the same lights. So we used just the studio lights that were at the top, just to make sure that, again, the main focus was on the people talking, not on the surroundings, and there was a curtain behind them and stuff, so we just wanted to make sure that it was those that was the main focus of the shot. We also used the voiceover for certain sections of the documentary, just so that it made it more, it wasn't just samey all the time, that it was constantly changing from one scene to another, but you keep the voiceover to keep the continuity of the documentary. So we actually filmed the majority, we filmed all of it in college and after college as well, but it was all based in college. So we used our own college radio station to film all that, just so we had the quality that we needed. We didn't just use a microphone for that. We did use the actual mics that are in the radio station that we have in college. So that just made sure that we had the highest sound quality that we could, to again just make sure that it was the highest quality that we could get it to be. So for the planning, to contact each other, me and Matthew decided to use Facebook Messenger because we thought that would be the most easy way to contact each other. So we planned meeting up to film after college and during college, like in our free periods, and when we could work on the documentary in the computer room. So obviously Facebook Messenger, a lot of people use it, and obviously we're both using it, and it's very easy because you can send images on there, text on there, videos on there, voice messages on there, just to let them know like where you are and stuff like that, and show different things that you might have done when they've not been there. So we thought it was an easy way to plan things, as it was something that we both readily use every single day. We also created a group chat with all the people that are in our documentary as well, so we could work out when people are on their free periods, or if they could stay behind after college to see if they could film with us, because obviously not everyone was free at the same time, so it just made it easier so everyone knew where everybody was. So we used Facebook Messenger to contact each other. For the professional opinion for our counsellor, we used Francesca Pridham, Fran. So rather than obviously using Facebook Messenger with her, we thought because she has the professional opinion, it'd be a lot more formal to contact each other via email. So we just used Google email for that, and we just emailed back and forth to check when we could film, send over what it was that she wanted to be talking about in the documentary, so she had an idea of what it was she was going to have to say once we came to her, not just kind of shoved the camera in her face and said go kind of thing. So to edit everything, we used Adobe Premiere to edit everything, so we used that to edit the documentary. We did meetings as well, so we used Premiere to edit that, and we also filmed the audition clips as well to stick onto the blog, so we also used Adobe Premiere to edit all of those together, and then obviously we used YouTube so that we could upload all of those on there and keep them all in one place, and then just directly link that back onto the blog, so it just makes it easier for you to watch rather than having to go loads of different clicks. You just click straight on and it plays straight from the blog. We also used Photoshop to edit the ancillary products. So we chose a newspaper ad and the double page spread. So we decided to use Photoshop because of the multiple different features. So you can edit photos whilst also putting a lot of different After Effects on there, text on there, and we thought the main focus was going to be in the newspaper ad was probably the image and also the title at the top, and then we also wanted the social media, the icons coming down either side. So we wanted that to be the main focus, so we decided that Photoshop would just be the easiest way to do that. And also we used Photoshop for the double page spread as well, because to make it, the text with the columns, we just thought it'd be the easiest way to do it. And looking at other different double page spread, all the different products, we thought that they also had the same professionalism that we wanted to emulate in our own double page spread and newspaper ads. So we were inspired by looking at a lot of others to make ours, and we decided that Photoshop would be the best bet to edit those on. As far as storing things, we put everything onto our own system, in college. So we have our own like Y server that we can put everything into. For all the clips, we stored them on an SD card that came straight from the camera. We just put them straight into a card reader and straight onto the computer. And then obviously we stored all those in one area so we know where everything was, and we could take those straight over to Adobe Premiere or straight over to Photoshop where they were needed. Yeah, and then obviously, I think that's it actually. Yeah. Right, that's it. So that's question 4. Thank you very much, Mr. Examiner.